Hey, all things Cheryl, up early in the morning for a review and a recap, or basically this probably a review because I'm like, this is morning. But anyway, let me get on with it. In episode 11 in season 3, in the title of Wrote Notes. So I'm going to try to, you know, here we have episode 11. And episode 11 is called Your Passage Has Been Paid. Your passage has been paid. Darle and Darle. You guys, guess what? You guys got checkmate. Checkmate. You're done. The reason why you're done is because you didn't think that Ralph Angel basically was going to just take it. And Darlene, you thought that just because you got money and you can afford lawyers, you thought that Ralph Angel wouldn't be able to sustain the blow that you were trying to do towards him when you guys were in that mediation. You found out that Ralph Angel was not playing with you nor your daughter. I'm thinking Ralph Angel was just sitting there in his little suit and tie looking real good. He was just sitting there and just listening. And all of a sudden, there's a breakout. And Darlene tells Ralph Angel that he wasn't fit to be the father. And she thought that she was doing something by telling Ralph Angel to take the test. Ralph Angel looked at her. This boy, Kofi, you know that you can bring on emotion and you can bring it on. You know you can do that. And I can't see why you guys don't get up, y'all better receive, Queen Sugar better receive something. Y'all better get it. Y'all better get these awards. The fact that the matter is that Darlene thought she was doing something when she tells Ralph Angel, well, we don't even know if he's the biological father. Take the test. I'm saying, I'm saying, you're getting ready to get your feelings hurt. You seriously getting ready to get your feelings hurt. So, in mediation, Ralph Angel told the lawyer, well, my name is on the birth certificate. And therefore, Blue is my son. He says, I've been doing some research. And I know that he's my son. The reason why I know he's my son is because I took the test. And he is not my son. Well, how do you feel now, darling? You got pie all in your face, thinking that you will come and snatch Blue away from the Borderlands? Now, Ralph Angel has really stepped up to the plate. Although emotional, he's going through it, but he is necessary. He is definitely doing the necessary steps he needed to do in order to do this battle. He also paid great attention to what his best friend, I guess they were best friend, told him to put the manhood aside and go on and do what you gotta do. So that's what Ralph Angel did. He told Darlene, and Darlene, he says, yeah, I've been doing the research and I know that Blue is not my son. I've done the test. Now you should have seen the look on her face. it was a picture moment. It was really a picture moment. A picture moment. On the other side of town, after we find out that Ralph Angel delivered a blow to Darlene and Darla, on the other side of town, we dealing with the little act up crew. They're getting really, really nervous. It's because things are beginning to go down. The detectives are beginning to come to each and every one of the kids. And before they, talks amongst each other, we find out that what's her name? Can't even think of I can't even think of her name, but I'm gonna call Charlie's investigator that basically been doing all of the Vicky. There we go. Vicky came to Charlie where Charlie was working and said that she was basically trying to get in contact with Charlie, but she wanted to basically give her, what was going on by the phone. And this is when she told Charlie that Micah is a suspect in the fire. And that's when we see the kids are, the kids are at school and basically talking amongst each other. And then that's when the kids told Michael, says, Michael, your mother is here. And Michael looked back and he knew what was about to happen. Charlie was basically getting ready to read the riot act to his little buns. And so Charlie, moves in a way where she didn't want nobody to hear what she had to say to her son and to let, Micah have it. But Micah decided that he grown. He grown. And Charlie was so upset. And she told, that you could get locked up. And Michael says, I know, I can get locked up, Mom. And I would say, yeah, this is, he's sounding like a little rich, privileged kid in one part, but then in another part, he knows that he did something wrong. And Charlie is basically trying to tell him that you can't, I don't want you around your friends. That's it. I trust you. I'll let you go to the school. And all of a sudden now you want to act up and act out. And she tells him that I don't want you, around these kids. And Michael was basically like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Now, I was surprised when Micah talked back to Charlie. I was like, oh. And like Charlie says, oh, you grown now. You decided you want to make these moves. Guess what? Your little ass gonna wind up in jail. And so Charlie, goes on to tell Micah, look, I've got a meeting, with the farmers, but after, I do this meeting, we're gonna sit down and have a conversation. And so in the background, while she's talking, in the background, excuse you guys, I live in a place where they got dogs, but in the background, we see Micah on his phone. And Charlie looked around and looked at him and said, are you serious what I'm saying here? This stuff that you do, this is nothing. This is no time for you to be texting. I looked at him and I was like, you know what? Better Charlie. Better you than me. Because I would have jerked his little buns up, took that phone of his, threw that crap out in the street somewhere, and pushed this or kicked this little ass down there and say, get the, But she looked at him and said, well, what you doing? I told you what I want you to do. And he said, look, I'm going over to my aunt Nova's house. And then this is when you know that Nova and Charley had already had this indifference because Charley found out that Nova was getting ready to, hook up with Remy. But little did she know that uh Nova has broken it off with Remy, but she doesn't know that yet. I guess we'll probably find out in the next 2 episodes. And so Michael goes on and said the reason why I'm going to go over to my aunt Nova's house, and Charley said you ain't going nowhere, and he went on and said I'm going over to my auntie because she understands me, she gets me, and I'm just going to go over there. So we see where Micah is basically over his aunt Nova's house and telling her exactly what went on. And I'm so glad that Nova was basically telling Micah in a intelligent kind of way that what you guys did was reckless. And then that's when Nova begins to tell Micah that, you guys need to get yourself organized if you all want to basically do an impact, and if you want your organization or your movement to move, that you need to understand that you need to organize. You can't be so reckless. You need to think before you move. And so this is when Michael began to praise his aunt Nova, due to the fact that, she had a platform and that she, did a lot of things and that she's out there. And so I'm glad that Nova actually really, really got down to the nitty gritty, which I had no idea. But we knew that Nova was a weed, and she basically told Micah. She says, I am not all that as you think. And then that's when she told the story about Too Sweet. And the fact that she used to be a herbalist. I'm going to say she used to be a herbalist because she grew her own marijuana. Now remember, in episode 1 and 2, we saw that she did grow her own, her own natural stuff. And that she was selling it in the Ninth Ward. And that Too Sweet got involved and, got locked up for it. And so when Michael was surprised to basically, hear the story, but he was still trying to, say, well, it was just herb. But she says, no, it was herb, but still, it was illegal. And I got a young fellow locked up because of me being a part of that particular time selling drugs to basically, I think, a minor. Selling drugs to a minor. And so I'm glad that Nova had that conversation with Micah. And yes, he needed to hear that the fact that his aunt was not, that his aunt made mistakes, but you have to understand the reason and how, she made these mistakes. Now, we know that Michael, the sad thing about it is that when you are a child, no matter whether or not if you white, black, or whatever, Michael has always been in the line of a privileged child, a black privileged child. So therefore, he never knew, or he never understood, or he never was around, consciousness. I'm going to say consciousness. And Micah is beginning to have consciousness, and he wants to make a statement. He wants to basically, move. So this tells me Michael probably will make it to college and he probably will become a lawyer. We're not quite sure, but we don't know. And so I like the fact that Nova says what you did was reckless. And I also like the fact that she asked him, she said, well, what's your intent and what's your purpose? What were you guys' intent and what were your purpose? And then this is when Michael goes on to tell his aunt what was his point and what was his purpose. Now, let's deal with on the other side of town. We've got we got Aunt Vi. And Aunt Vi is getting ready to hit big time, guys. She's getting ready to hit big time because it was these cameras and everything was coming to do an interview, was coming to find out the history of Aunt Violet, Aunt Vi, and her pies, and how she started out, doing her pies. And we see that Rhonda, her assistant, was late. Now, how you gonna be late knowing that your boss is beginning to make boss moves and you're late? You're late. You come in late when half of the interview was over. And so the interview woman asked Aunt Vi, give us a little bit of history, on how you got started. And what's your backfall is. I guess that's if I'm understanding this. And for a minute there, I thought the way it looked that she was going to tell them that she had lupus. I thought that she was going to say that she had lupus to overcome, how to get there. And I thought she was going to tell them that she had lupus, but she didn't. Now, being at these days and times now, being middle age, retirement, some people are retiring, nowadays people retire very early. Some people, retire at the retirement age. And a lot back in the times, and, I've always told you guys exactly how old I was. Starting another business, and it's always been that way. Starting businesses after you retire at the age of 60 or 55 is not late in starting a business. Some people wait till after they put in the years of 25 years or 30 years, and basically they retire and they start with a whole new, career. And basically, I know everybody is, they're focusing on that, and Violet is in her early 60s, and she's starting a second life, a second success story. So I'm glad that the focus is on Aunt Vi and Violet's pies and stuff. But what you guys not going to do, what you guys not going to do, no, you're not. No, you're not. I looked at the previews and you guys got Aunt Vi holding her chest. What y'all not going to do? Y'all not going to do that. Y'all not going to do that. Y'all going to let Aunt Vi get that success. And we know that when it's dealing with lupus, we never know when an attack may occur. We never know when an attack may occur. Now, we don't know whether or not, but from the reviews, it looks like she was at work, not on camera. So that was a good thing. So we're dealing with Nova again. We're dealing with Nova again. And we see that basically Nova has went to check on Too Sweet. And apparently it seems like Nova has invested in Two Sweet's education. And she's there at the library and he sees her. And then he basically asks her, well, why are you here? She says, well, you're not sick, are you? And she said, no, she's not sick. But she wanted to talk to him. And so this is when we go on and we find out that she tells Too Sweet that she was responsible for basically him getting locked up. And it was surprising to me that Too Sweet, Too Sweet did not get mad. He did not get angry with her. He told her that really it was not her fault, that he had the choice to do it. And he basically thanked her. And he understood, and he knew the choice that he made was not a good choice. And I'm so glad, because I thought he was going to go off the hook. I thought he was going to tell her to get the hell out. No, he didn't do that. He basically told her that he is so glad that, he's in school. And he went on and to explain to her that a lot of the young people, and this is true, and for me, talking to young people, a lot of young people, girls and boys, think that being locked up is, a badge of honor. And I'm just here to tell you guys, if you up here looking at this, and if you're young, if you're 18, 19, or 20, or however, being locked up is not a badge of honor. We don't need to have a whole bunch of our youth in jail for they'll lock you up at a drop of a dime. We don't need you guys to be in these jails locked up, and you think it's a badge of honor. It's not a badge of honor. It's that when you're locked up and you come out, it makes it very, very difficult for you to get a job, get a house, get housing, get any type of health benefits. Once you get a record, and now what they're trying to do makes it very hard. So I'm glad that Too Sweet understood that the choice that he made was not, a good choice. And he says that he's glad that he, is going to school. And he, it was good. It was very, very good. And it was good for Noah to let Too Sweet know how he basically got there. All right. We're almost there, guys. We go on now. We go on and we see Charley at the High Yellow. And basically, Charley is having a meeting with, it looks like, two of the black owners are there basically to let Charley know that they are beginning to, build up momentum about this prison that they're getting ready to build. And so they asked Charley, did she know about it? And of course, Charley knew about it and everything. And so she acted like that she didn't know, but she did. And so I said to myself, Charley, you are a good businesswoman. She shrugged it off as if she didn't know anything, but she did knew what was going on. The reason why she knew is because, let's talk about it, guys. I knew that what's that wrinkle old woman's look like she's coming up out of the grave, and her slimy brothers and that slime Jacob and Colton did to Charley. Now my question is that last episode Charley got Colton to sign 10% of his stock to the land. She got that 10%. Thinking that by her having that 10% and thinking that she had a vote in what they were getting ready to do as far as this jail is concerned. Now we see that Charley is sitting, or I don't know if she's sitting or standing, and they were talking about, looks like they had like a mini diagram, and they were talking about the jail, and that once if they get locked up, it's going to take forever for them to to get out of it. And so this is where we see the slimy sister. No, that's not. I gotta think. Where they at? No, this is when Charley sees the brown, what they're gonna do for breaking the jail. And so we see that the slimy sister, slimy Sam, was and had Charley sitting there. And we see the slimy sister telling Charley all of these lies that they're going to become a partner and that they're going to take their brother down, Sam, the slimy slime, down. And Charley thinking that, yes, we're going to do this together. But no, they ambushed Charley. How they ambushed Charley is that Charley did not know that they had voted 3 days earlier. 3 days earlier. And I'm wondering, is that the same time where they had Charley to do all this running around, get, Colton to sign over the shares to her? So I'm thinking, this is my way of thinking, Charley did have a stake in that final vote, but to keep her out of that final vote, she did have the power, because I think she had like 1% or 2%. That basically gave her the power to vote. And they knew that if Charley was there, that she was going to vote. Excuse me, getting loud because I was getting excited. That she was going to vote against that, and they knew that. They knew that she did have a stake in that. The final say so for that prison. She did. And they knew that she did. But they ambushed her. And the reason how they ambushed her, they had her to, to go and get that 10% of the stock. Now, this is when Sam told Charley, said, you can't do this. It's because of the bylaws. And this is when Slimy Sam tells Charley, well, if you weren't there to receive the memo, and the memo states that if you're not there, then you do not have a vote. And so somehow they got Charley to, while she's like running around getting all this paperwork and digging in, they're behind closed doors making the final decision. They ambushed Charley. They really seriously ambushed Charley. And I believe, what's the Helen, whatever her name, the one that looked like she's from a creepy horror movie. She knew what she was doing. She was in the cahoots with that. Because when Sam told Charley, well, there's no vote because we voted 3 days early, she gets up from her little wrinkly bun and said, well, oh well. I'm saying to myself, my God, they ambushed this girl. Now, my theory, and I want to know, What about that 10%? Does that mean that she is a part of that jail that is getting ready to build? Or did she sign away her rights? So that's up in the air for me. I'm like wondering, okay, you have 10% of the land of the land. What does that mean? You have 10%. Will somebody explain that to me? If she signed that contract and she gets that 10%, what does that mean? Will she be able to stop it um from that prison being built? Will she be able to stop it? So in the meantime, we see that Charlie's got ambushed. In the meantime, we see that Charley is still at home after dealing with the ambush. We see that she's basically at a meeting and basically telling the black farmers that it's a done deal when it comes to, making that final move, and that they, there's nothing that they can do at this point until they have that, I guess, the meeting of all of the farmers. And so this is when Charley sees that Micah basically has come into the house. And she didn't say anything to him because she was in a meeting. But this is when Micah goes upstairs. And so this is when we see Scummy and Slimy Davis. Basically, Charley has called Davis in to basically see if he could get through Micah. Micah is on the move, guys. Micah is basically, he's like 18. So, I don't know if he's 15, 16, 17. I don't know. But he's on the move, Once they get to a certain growth, this is when they begin to flex their little manhood or womanhood. So, with Micah, it's his manhood. And so, we see that Charley has called Davis in. Her purpose and her reasons for calling Davis in was to see whether or not if he could break through, because Michael is not saying nothing to nobody after Michael basically, got kind of smart with his mother. So of course she calls in she calls in Davis to try to talk some sense into basically Micah. And there's something that is on my mind. I'm gonna try to get it in. And so we see that the conversation between Micah and his father Davis at first wasn't going too well. Wasn't going too well at all. And so Davis goes in and asks and apologize to him, and tells Micah that he was sorry for everything. And then Micah said, "Yeah, I know. You're sorry in everything that you do these days." And Davis went on and tried to tell Micah that those mistakes and the decisions and stuff that he's making is not very good decisions. And Michael also digs in him a little bit more and tells him that he's basically, trying not. There was a lot of words and everything. I read it down, but I'm trying to remember stuff that he did, and that the only thing that basically he wanted Michael is to do is basically to think before he makes irrational decisions, because those irrational decisions can make a very devastating impact on the future and things that he does when he, begins to move about. And so we see that Michael basically listened to what his father, was basically telling him. And so we see that Davis comes back and Charley asks Davis, was he able to say anything? And the only thing that Davis tells Charley is that he's going to be okay. He's definitely going to be okay. And I wanted to mention, and while I'm on this, that Nova had that conversation kind of similar to Davis had. That Nova asked Micah, did he wanted to be the first young man to go to that new prison that they are basically beginning to build or trying to get built. And so this is basically how Davis and Charley and Nova's conversation kind of was about the same. And so we go on and we see another scene with Charley and Davis. And we know that Charley is very, very sensitive and very vulnerable right now. And the reason why we see a scene where Davis and her basically embrace. And so we know that Charley is feeling a bunch of stuff right now. A bunch of stuff. She's got railroad into something that she thought that she was going to be on top of it, but I think she's going to come out on top. And so they're embracing. I'm saying to myself, this is situations where at times when you're in, things that you become very vulnerable. Vulnerable. Y'all know what I'm saying. My sinuses. And I'm thinking, oh, go ahead and, in my mind, I mean, sometimes you do need a hug. Everybody might have not been so, feeling good about that hug or that embrace that Davis and Charley did. But sometimes when you go through hard situations such as what they're going through, Charley finding out, she's been ambushed and, her son going around here, acting up and being a part of burning down historical landmarks like Nova told basically Micah, when you burn down historical landmarks, you're basically wiping away the history that our people has basically, died for. And by them, you burning them down, you have nothing to rely on. Basically, why do it? But anyway, so we go on and we see that Charley is basically standing in the doorway of her son, Micah, and basically looking at her son. And we see that Micah is laying down and knows and senses and feels that his mother is basically there. And we see that Charley basically gets in the bed and embraces her son. And it was a very tender moment. And this is where we find out that Micah basically broke down. And not only did he break down to his mother, but he also broke down to his father by telling his father how he felt and what went on in first season 1 and season 2, where is that the guard, the police officer put a gun in his mouth and a whole bunch of other stuff, and he informed his father that the police officer is trying to get an appeal, and Davis had no idea. So that's gonna be, I think that's gonna be a part of, I don't know, one or two or maybe episode or season. And so this is where we see that Michael tells his mom that he did something wrong, and he knew that he just broke down, and then he just broke down. And then this is when we see, a flash of Darle and his Darle and her mother. And we see that Darlene basically gets in the car, and she basically, drives away. This was and that was the end of episode 11. Let me tell you guys, this was very, very emotional. It's like 40 minutes, but I always do a long one. This is very, very emotional. The way you would think that this was the final episode, but it wasn't. Things we thought the stuff was breaking loose in episode 11. So I believe it's going to, let's see, 12 and 13. I think we may have 3 more. I don't know if they have. I don't know if they have 15 episodes or 14 episodes. We don't know. But I'm going to tell you that this episode was, they was doing the thing. They were doing it. If you have any conversations, you want to talk about something, I want to know, what about that 10% that Charley signed? What does that mean? Did she sign something, or was she aware what was going on within that contract? I mean, they definitely ambushed. They definitely ambushed Charley. They definitely ambushed. But I believe that Charley is going to come out of it. But I love the fact that Ralph Angel did a boomerang. He definitely did a boomerang on Darla and Darlene when he announced the fact that he knew that he is not the biological father. He knows that. And that he has an upper hand due to the fact that his name is on that birth certificate. Look, guys, comment, subscribe, hit the notification, and tune in to see exactly what's going to happen next week, because this is really breaking loose. Till the next time, this is All Things Cheryl. Peace and love. And remember, love is for everyone.